So I pulled a set of 03 taillights from a junkyard a while back, not realizing that this bolt had been ripped out off of one of them. This is the set off of my car. As you can see, that is well secured in there. And this one was ripped off. So I have a fresh bolt. It's the same one that goes in there, and it'll fit right here, but it doesn't quite stay in there, so I'm gonna mill this out just a little bit so that it will sit down in there better, and that way I can go about JB welding it back in place in a real solid manner. Luckily they give you quite a lot of extra thread on these where they mount in, so it should, even though it's probably going to sit a little bit lower than it used to, I imagine, it won't be too far off, so it will hopefully work just fine. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my Dremel with this bit right here, and hopefully just kind of go around the inside of this and remove a little bit of the plastic, just enough to get this guy to sit down in there. And then once you're confident that you've milled it out enough that the bolt will actually kind of sit down in there, you can go ahead and make sure that you've kind of got it straightened out on all accounts. I kind of try to line it up with some of these guys, these other two bolts, and make sure that it's straight. And once you're confident that it's as straight as you want it to be, you can go ahead and JB Weld all around that guy as much as you can. And I might even consider dropping a dollop underneath it and then resetting this screw. I would set it once so that you kind of know what it looks like and where it should be and where you want it beforehand, so that way you're not trying to race against the clock while you set this. Because once you set that JB Weld, that's going to be, you're going to be cutting at it and hacking at it to get it off, and it's not going to be pretty. So yeah, I would make sure you're ready to go when you do it, and you know, set a little dollop underneath it, set it in there, and get it posted where you want it, and then JB Weld all around it, securing it back into that cradle and recreating what is essentially that right there. You want that cradle recreated as much as possible to fill up to the top of that. And you can see on this one how much we've got to fill in there, but we should be able to get it done. So I've got a little bit of a first layer down. It's probably a little bit overkill, but I tried to get as much up under there as I could before the other stuff started setting. So, but I'm fairly certain I've got it pretty darn straight on there. Looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and let this cure and do a test fit and make sure it fits. So we went ahead and let this bad boy sit overnight. It's nice and solid in there now. So now that it's kind of sealed up down there, I'm just going to go ahead and pump some more JB Weld up around in these spots, just to make sure that this is on here pretty solid. I don't want it to come off or come loose. Especially just because this seal right here there's usually a foam bit that goes around it, and that helps keep water out of the rear of the car. And if any of these 3 nuts are loose on that, it opens a gap in this just enough that water can get in. So you want these all to be real solid. So I'm just gonna make sure, I'm just gonna pump a little more JB Weld down in there. I had a decent amount on this side, but I really want to kind of fill it up in there, up underneath it as much as possible. Really try to get that all secured so that way it doesn't come off. But this is a real easy fix for, you know, any tail lights that you have for the Celica, especially on these outer ones. These ones seem more likely to come off. These 2 in here are held in held in better, it seems. I tried to wrestle some of those out on a Junkyard set, and they stay in there pretty well. So it's really just this outer one that seems to have the issue. But as you can see, you can just shave out that inside and drop some JB Weld in there, and it'll go right back in. Saves you a whole set of tail lights, especially on nice ones like these 03 Pluses. I really enjoy these tail lights. I think they're one of the best looking sets of tail lights you can get for the car. I mean, I picked the setup for $15 at a Junkyard, so even with one broken bolt, it was well worth it because that's an easy fix. So I've managed to get one more layer of JB Weld down in here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it quite on film, but I tried to get it all up underneath that bolt as much as possible without covering the top of it. Just so that way it's well secured on there. And we'll go ahead and let that dry again for about another 24 hours, and then we'll go do a test fit. Make sure that bad boy fits where he's supposed to. So, repaired tail light. We're gonna make sure this bad boy fits right in here. And 1 bolt, 2 bolts, 3 bolts. Let's see, everything looks like it fits here on the outside. Meshes up real good. Fits right in there. And just for shits and giggles, we'll go ahead. Throw some bolts on there. She is. Mates up very nicely. Fits right where it should. It doesn't have the weather stripping on it right now, so it does have a little wiggle to it. I also just only finger tightened it on there, just to make sure that things were lining up correctly. But as you can see, everything bolts right up just the way it should. This is a successful repair. Broken set of 03 Plus tail lights fixed. Just needs a little quick JB Weld and some time.